for instance, so right when COVID started hitting everything, my buddy, actually my boy, shout out to Abel Garcia, artist.
Yep,
he
talked about him last time.
invited me to an art show last November. I was like, hey, I'm gonna go do an art show. Gotta go. They already booked my flight. I'm out of here. He was like, all right, go do it. Ended up going. It was in a high rise in Plano, Texas. So it was a little on the outskirts of Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
They were taking up a bunch of art pieces, and one of the dudes that was there was like, they got in the same elevator, and he's like, hey, what's going on? And they're like, oh, well, we're having an art show. They're doing this, blah, 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 for Abel Garcia. He's like, cool. He's like, well, I'm the CEO of Salt Tequila. Like, is it okay if I go, like, take some bottles and hang out with you guys? And they're like, yeah, sure. Dude showed up, brought some bottles, hung out with us. I talked with him for a little bit. He got my information, or he hadn't got my information yet, but me and him talked. Yeah, me and him talked. So a few weeks later, it passes, and he reaches out to the girl that he had a conversation with that lives in the high rise. She's like, she calls Abel, is like, Abel, get a hold of your boy. This dude wants to meet with Elias.
Mm-hmm.
So we ended up talking. I ended up hosting their 2021 virtual New Year's Eve concert.
Nice.
So they had live bands, and I was just in between sets. So I talked and everything. I ended up getting sponsored by him.
Oh, wow.
So I'm sponsored by Salt Tequila. And
why didn't you bring me any? Could have put it right here on the table.
I should have. I'll get one for. Come over tomorrow. I'll have a bottle.
If you bring me one, I'll literally put it right here for the next few episodes.
Okay.
I won't even talk about it. It'll just be there.
Deal. You hear that, Bill?
That way people ask, what is that?
So I told her, I was like, look, like, perfect example.
Yeah.
If you would have been pissed off and you would have been like, you know what, I don't want you to go, blah, 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 blah. All you're going to do is talk to girls, this and that. You could have been so negative about it.
Yeah.
I was like, but since you weren't and you were supportive of that, like, look what it led to. Like, and their headquarters is based out of Miami. So I still stay in contact with them. They send me money to purchase bottles to show at bars and stuff. Like, you know what I mean? So I'm going to support them like they support me. And that's something that I got because she encouraged me to go. Because there's been times where I've been in relationships where like, oh, you just want to go party and talk to girls.
And you'll miss opportunities because you care. And so you'll like, I want to go. I know good things can happen, but I really don't want to upset her. Had she been negative about it, like, and then you would have missed out on stuff.
Then I'd be like, hey guys, I can't go. Like, I need to stay here. Like, I'm trying to make things good here. But that's the thing is like, you don't have to make things good like so much. They had to support you just as much as you support them. Like,
people that did great things were called crazy at one point.
Mm-hmm.
And they did something different. You think all the people in the neighborhood were happy that Ben Franklin was flying a kite in the thunderstorm? They thought he was a goddamn moron.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what is he doing? That lightning's going to kill you. You know what I mean? Like, these are people that had, and obviously I'm going way back, but look at Elon Musk. People thought he was out of his mind when he said he was going to dig tunnels under LA or fly a ship into space. And now he's one of the richest people in the world. People thought Jeff Bezos was crazy for starting an online bookstore, which is what Amazon was. They're like,
remember.
That's never going to work. People go to, this is back when libraries were, you know what I mean?
Go rant with their
no
library
one's going to get a digital book, an audio book. It's never going to work. And now he's the
podcast,
richest person.
Yeah.
And so it's like, it's crazy because you have to, same thing with Steve Jobs with the iPod. They're like, there's no way you're putting all that music on one little tiny thing. Everyone is crazy until they're not. Exactly. And so it's like when people in relationships need to know this, but when people have an idea, if it sounds out of this world, good. If it sounds normal and something doable, that means someone's already done it. But if you want great things to happen, if someone says, hey, I want to try this, I want to try that, just support them because maybe it is dumb, but maybe it's not. Like, these are the chances that you have to take to even have an opportunity to have a great idea or thought.
And vice versa. I'm a firm believer in like, you surround, my brother told me this, you're judged by the company you keep, but it meant a lot. To me, it was just like, oh, like whoever I hang around with, that's who I'm going to become or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But now that I'm this age, I'm a firm believer, like when you have a warpath and you're trying to get somewhere, when you start blocking out the people that'll bring you down or that try and obstruct you from it, it's not necessarily a bad thing because you still be friends with them or whatever. But people that are, when you start going in a direction that you want to go, you will find people that are like-minded and that want the same thing, just in different directions maybe. Like you, like say for instance, I want to do DJing, you want to do your podcast and everything. I'm going to back you up. You're going to back me up. And we're still on a warpath to get somewhere.
Yeah.
And support each other too. I remember talking about when I was listening with DJ Black about like, people wanting hookups and stuff too. Like, hey, like hook me up with the.
Yeah, you got me, right? That's how they are. Yeah.
Hey, hook me up. Like, if you want to hook somebody up, support them. Buy their merch.
I'm so glad you said that because I think that it's important. It's like do you ever work fast food at all? Or anything like that?
The Starbucks count?
Sure. So I worked at Sonic. I worked at Pizza Hut. My friends would come in and they would try to get free pizza or free Sonic. And it's like, I'm not a manager,
especially
man.
Starbucks.
Yeah. And so it's like, or when there's products, like even like weed. I have a friend that sells weed and everyone's trying to get free weed from him. I'm like, if that's your boy, pay for the weed, man, and give him a tip because you're supporting your friend's business. That's what it is. If you really, really care, the weed example may not be the best one, but by the way, you should be tipping your weed person. If your friend has a business or something they're profiting on, like being a DJ or a podcast, which I don't make any money off of, but had I made money off of it and you have the opportunity, you should support it, right?
Exactly.
You should. If your friend does something, you should pay. At least you can do is pay what everyone else pays. But at the best, you can give a little extra because you're supporting your buddy.
Think about it this way. You go get a haircut with your barber.
Yes.
Tip or no tip?
That's a good example. You have to tip.
Automatically, right? Even if, there's times where like if it's the shittiest haircut in the world,
tip, don't go back to that barber because he's gonna fuck your hair up.
Yeah, exactly. Like you always tip your barber.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Tattoo artists.
Hey, you don't ask for a hookup. Even if he gives you a hookup, what do you do? If he does a good job, what do? You can tip him another $10-15 just to cover it.
Here's a good example
Same
too.
thing, yeah.
Nick Clark, who I had on this podcast, was he used to bartend at Whiskey Dick's.
Mm-hmm.
Still bartends, just at a different place. We used to go in and he would hook it up. I would bring me, my fiance, 2 or 3 friends, and then I'd run into someone. We'd have shots, drinks all night. And I would go directly to Nick. And every single time I went to him, my bill was way lower than it should have been.
Mm-hmm.
Like a whole night of drinking, $15. Now I could easily have been, that's my boy. Haha, see, I told you guys, and left. Whatever I would have spent, and I kind of kept a pretty good idea, I would tip him. Not even a good tip, because people say like, oh, throw him some extra money. I was going to spend that money anyways.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to my buddy. If I knew, I would ask him. This is how it was. I'd go, hey, what would it have been? So he'd give me my ticket for $15. He's like, on a night where there's a bunch of people, it's like, honestly, it'd been like $80, $90. You know what I mean? I'm like, cool. And when it was less, he'd go like, honestly, man, like that was about what it was. Like I just had to charge you to my manager.
Yeah.
Whatever he said, he could have told me and been like $150 and he charged me for 15. I would have tipped him the other 135.
Yeah.
I tipped him whatever it would have been. So because he deserves that. And it's a win-win and it's my boy and he's not just hooking me up. I want to hook him back up too because I would prefer to give my money directly to the person hooking me up here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so, but that's not everyone sees it that way. Most people think like, oh, we'll come back here and only here because I get free drinks or cheap drinks. Like, nah, hook your boy up, whatever it is. If they're making money and there's an opportunity there, support them with that. It's the least you can do.
Yeah.
Hey guys, if you're enjoying watching these clips, then head over to the description so you can go watch the entire podcast episode or go to Apple Podcasts or Spotify, search Talk It Up, look for the gold logo, and start watching. Make sure you guys subscribe to this channel as well. And I'll catch you guys in the next one.